Good evening, race fans, and welcome to RaceSpotTV for round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. Sadly, tonight we start on a sombre note where we mourn the passing of Angus Archer. Angus was a great supporter of the Porsche Club of Great Britain motorsport around the United Kingdom and also here in the virtual world, and competed in this very championship and also supported it through his business AMS Porsche. He will be sadly missed amongst the Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing community and by his friends and family. And from us all here at RaceSpotTV and from the Porsche Club of Great Britain, we send our deepest condolences. And tonight, we go racing in Angus Archer's memory. Good evening, it's Peter Mackay here alongside my regular broadcast partner, Paul Smith, ready for the second round of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. And Paul, a slightly different view of things this evening. Fuji International Speedway tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because Fuji is a track that I think a few series shy away from, to be honest, and I think it can create some really, really good, exciting, intriguing racing. And certainly is going to give these drivers a bit of a challenge, but it also allows those prototypes to stretch their legs as well.
It does, and quite wide in places, so should make passing and traffic that little bit earlier. Well, we kicked off this brand new season 2 weeks ago at Suzuka, and now we're here, Fuji Grand Prix circuit, although it's in Japan, it is a very different layout indeed. In 2 weeks' time, on the 2nd of April, we head to Imola, to a very well-known circuit there. Daytona, a road course for an endurance race on the 16th of April. Then over to Brazil, and into Lagos, and well, if you go to Spa, it's got to be an endurance race, of course, doesn't it? Silverstone Grand Prix, a staple of the Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing, for our penultimate round, and we close off the season on the 11th of June at Sebring International Raceway in Central Florida. Of course, as always here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain, we have two classes. The Pro class running the Porsche 963 and the AM class running the 992 GT3R. And, well, a little bit of a surprise result in the opening round with Rob Sharp taking the win over Rob Miller and Daniel Lee after an excellent piece of fuel strategy. Byron Crawford came home in 4th with James Cummings, Paul Goffin and Stephen Kershaw in there, with Danny Jones, Heinz Meyer and Robert Healy looking to get their campaign going here at Fuji today. In the AM class, it was Stephen Haley who had a dominant victory over Alistair Hatcher, who in turn had a decent lead over Oliver Carbadine. Alex Jones came home in 4th, with Kim Such getting a top 5 straight out of the gate. Ryan Penny will be hoping to climb the standings here today at Fuji, as will Carl Stringer, Alex Owen, Andrew Shepherd and Anthony Franklin. Early days in this 8-round championship, and qualifying is coming up shortly. We have 10 minutes of qualifying for each class, so they go out, do their qualifying session, then come in. So it'll be AMs first, and then the pros will go second. Looking forward to see who comes out on top here tonight at Fuji Speedway.
Yeah, certainly. I am looking forward to this and intrigued by this. And of course, Peter, in the last week, iRacing had its latest build week, so week 13, for those of you who know all about that with the sim. And there's been some quite big changes, isn't there, with the prototype? So they'll be going out onto the circuit in just a few moments' time. Of course, if you are new to the series, this qualifying is split amongst the AMs first. They go out for 10 minutes, get their qualifying done, and then the pros come out. And that's why they're queuing at the end of the pit lane here. But yeah, some really, really close action in the qualifying for the AMs.
It is, yeah. The AMs have already been out and got their qualifying completed, with Stephen Haley, the championship leader, putting it on pole position from Alistair Hatcher with Oliver Carbadine. So that's interesting. The top 3 from the race 2 weeks ago at Suzuka hold the top 3 positions in qualifying. Good qualifying from Ryan Penny, much more where we expect him to be in 4th place. Carl Stringer in 5th, but just half a second covering that top 5. And as we know, Paul, in the AM class, the absolute outright pace is obviously important, but probably more so having a consistent run through the season.
Yeah, having that consistency throughout the season will really help you be able to put a big challenge in to the championship. And I mean, we've seen it in the history of motorsport how drivers can just get a single race win and end up winning a championship. It's all about that consistency. The pros are heading out there and they've got a new challenge. Those tyres, they've not had tyre blankets on them. They are stone cold, so don't expect to see the top. And there you go for an example. Car spinning round already. That was Johnny Elia.
Yeah, this is a new change. Since we raced 2 weeks ago, there's been a big iRacing update, and basically the tyre model of the GTP cars on iRacing had come into criticism for being unrealistic and effectively too easy to get into the operating window, and the tyres were showing that they had too much grip compared to the real life car, and the lap time showed it. The lap times were much lower than what you would expect from a real world GTP car. So iRacing have taken that on board, and they've made the tyre behave much more like it would in real life. If you watch some of the recent endurance races like in Sebring or at Daytona, particularly Daytona where it's a bit colder, you would see GT cars driving around prototypes at times. Now the reason for that is because those prototype cars were on their outlap and the tyres were still cold. So when these tyres are underneath their operating temperature and pressure, they have no grip at all. Or very little. So the drivers have got to take it super careful here to build the tyre temperature, build the pressure gently, not ask for too much too quickly. So I think actually, Paul, this is going to make for another spinner. This is going to make for a really exciting qualifying session, because last time we saw the drivers kind of done and the tyre finished within 2 or 3 laps. Now it's going to be almost who's last over the line as the tyre temperature and pressure keeps building.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, excuse me. I had the opportunity to do a little bit of practice over the iRacing build week, and found myself facing the wrong way many times in this 963 GTP car, and really it is a big challenge. You've got to treat the throttle pedal like you've got an egg underneath your foot. You've got to be so gentle with the application of the throttle to start with when you're just out of that pit lane with stone cold tyres. It is unbelievably slippy, but as you said, as we get more and more corners in, more and more brake applications, the brakes can have such a big effect. If you've got a few big braking areas that are going to generate a lot of brake heat, that actually heats the carcass and the inner of the tyre, so that can help bring the tyre temperature rather than just scrubbing the car left or right across the track. So a couple of big braking spots here down into Daichi into number 1 and Dunlop corner as well, so expect them to utilise those to help bring temperatures up.
It's very tricky, particularly through when I think the hardest part is going to be turn 13, 14, 15, 16, which is a very slow speed, but you know, the corners where you want to get on the power and, you know, really squirt in between the corners, and when the tyre's going to be cold on lap 1, it's going to be really tricky for the driver. So we ride with Rob Healy then. It's going to give us an impression. You just going, how much braking performance do I have yet? Do I want to open the power? No, you get the wheel nice and straight before opening that power up. It looks like the grip is building gently, and it is fairly progressive actually. I didn't manage to have a quick run yesterday in one of the GTP cars at Mugello, and it was, yeah, to start with, first couple of laps, there's just no grip really, but once it builds in, it then becomes very reassuring, and it then becomes a kind of high downforce prototype machine, and you can start to trust the car and you can start to trust the braking quite a lot more. And this is actually a circuit where it is pretty hard on tyres. When you come through turn 3, 4, 5, 6, those are all really fast corners, and you're putting a lot of weight through particularly the left-hand side tyres. So they're actually going to heat up a little bit quicker, you would think, than the right-hand side tyres. As we come into this technical section now, this turn 14, 15, and then all the way up around for 16. It's super technical, but this is where the really good drivers make the difference. It's not the fast corners, it's those slow technical corners.
Just to give an example as to how much off the pace they are, 34.7 by Rob Healy was the first one to set a meaningful lap time. In practice, Christian Zeruta did a 31.0. So that just shows just how far off. I mean, you see there, Danny Lee now at 32.5. They're getting closer and closer to that lap time. But I think you're absolutely right, Peter. It could very well be last person across the line who gets the pole.
It's almost like a drying track qualifying session.
Yeah.
Is it the 2010 Brazilian Grand Prix where Nico Hülkenberg was on pole in for a Williams?
By a second and a half, yeah.
Yes. That's a while ago.
It was ever so long ago, yeah. It's just a... don't want to scare you, Pete. It's just a mere 14 and a half years ago, is that?
Yes. That is pretty scary. That is pretty scary. Over to the line comes Rob Sharp to distract us from that thought. Let's see where he can go. Is he going to go up the order? No, remains a little bit off. Oh, no, just to say that, we're just waiting for the timing there. And yeah, straight to second on the grid then. Great lap from Rob Sharp. Drew Fletcher sits in third at the moment. He did, by my reckon, he did not race last time out. So this is going to get his championship underway now.
Yeah, it's another factor to go into where you were saying about this track is hard on the tyres with those long radius corners, but also with the asphalt as well. I know it's a cliche to bring it up, but the asphalt here in Japan, they use a different rock which doesn't give up as much grip as, say, somewhere like Silverstone or Spa, and it just means that you can end up scrubbing those tyres across the surface of the track and end up wearing out your tyres a bit more than normal. So, yeah, times are coming in a bit more and more now, and I think Danny Lee, Christian Zeruta and et al. Are getting closer and closer to what they can achieve.
Yeah, Christian Zeruta opening his championship account after not being able to make it last time out, and we saw Rob Sharp being the only driver to make the one-stop strategy work. Everybody else had to come in for that second stop and take a splash and dash. I would think there'd be a lot more drivers now, and it was done a lot last season when the rules were the same. But I think there's a lot more drivers that have been reminded that that's possible, and I think we could see more drivers trying that. Particularly if they don't have the absolute outright pace, they might well try that to try and throw the dice at least, and it certainly worked for Rob Sharp, our championship leader coming out of Suzuka.
This is a bit of a different circuit though, isn't it? There's not as much technical off-throttle sections as Suzuka, I don't feel.
No.
Yeah, it's doable, absolutely doable, but you've got to do that fuel save whilst keeping to a very, very similar race pace that you can do absolutely flat chat. That's the balance that you've got to achieve there. As Christian Zeruta now up into the 31.4s, we're getting onto the final laps, starting the final laps for a few of these drivers now.
So what has James Cummings got in the tank? He's 0.6 of a second off the pole time at the moment, and goes up into third. It's just trims a little bit of time off there, but he will get one more lap, and that's very, very important here. Danny Lee, what can he do? Newcomer to the championship this year, car number 188 is coming through the chicane at the moment, named after another tyre brand, which isn't Pirelli, the official tyre of Porsche Club of Great Britain Motorsport. Whoops, one of the 11th, 10th cars off there. Is that Johnny Elia again, spin?
It was Byron Crawford around. But yeah, Danny Lee, I mean, what a debut it was for him last time out, getting that podium, got a pole position as well. Can he stick it on pole? Well, I'll tell you what, he'll be starting his last lap with about 25 seconds remaining here. it's almost like he's going to be one of the last ones across the line to start their lap.
He's going to be one of the last as the time rolls through. It goes up to second place then for Danny Lee. Right, is this going to be the pole lap then for Danny Lee? Has he got the tyre temperatures, he got the tyre pressure in? Drew Fletcher then sitting in 7th, but looking pretty good on the times, tracking for 4th at the moment if he can maintain this pace coming into the latter part of the lap. But yeah, the fuel save thing is going to be interesting. I guess you can do a big fuel save into turn 1 into Daichi, and some of the faster corners you can maybe just try and roll the speed a little bit more. But yeah, I think making that one stop work is going to be difficult, but I think that someone will pull it off somehow.
James Cummings, good lap, just 1.5 tenths off of Christian Giruta. Drew Fletcher across the line to finish his qualifying as well. But yeah, that fuel save, it's somebody will try it. You know they will now. After seeing, as you said, getting reminded that it is a possibility last time out, somebody will try it. But is it a case that around here you're actually better off being flat chat? We'll have to wait and see. That's the beauty of motorsport. We get to find out the answers soon.
Well, the flying bogey is stuck to the back of Barbie at the moment. You're thinking, what on earth am I talking about? Christian Tsuruta, always known for driving the flying bogey. Occasionally he runs the Manti paint, which looks like he's got on for this season, but was well known. Even had written on the roof, pick it, lick it, flick it. Dean Powell to pole.
That's a heck of a lap time. What about Giruta? Can he top him? The answer is no.
He got a great toe coming out of the... he held on to Barbie's hair and managed to get a toe all the way to the line, but it wasn't quite enough. What can Cummings do as he comes to the line now? He needs a 131 point. Oh, wow-wee. Pole, provisional pole for James Cummings, or has it been disallowed?
No, it's not counted, I don't think.
So it was a 131.198, but it did not count. He must have broken track limits at one point.
It must have, yeah.
Oh no. And well, has Danny Lee got anything left in the tank? Has he crossed the line?
Yep, he's
finish,
done.
he has. So we're all done. Wow. Okay. Game on then here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing. Dean Powell on pole position then, with Christian Tsuruta joining him on the front row of the grid. Row 2 is James Cummings and Danny Lee, with the race 1 winner in Suzuka, Rob Sharp, alongside Johnny Elia. Row 4 is Paul Goffin and Rob Healy. Then it's Steve Kershaw and Drew Fletcher. Heinz Meyer will roll off from 11th alongside the Haribo Bear, Danny Jones. Byron Crawford, difficult qualifying for him. He'll start from 13th. In the AMS, it's Stephen Haley once again who will start on pole position alongside Alistair Hatcher. Then it's Ollie Carwadine beside Ryan Penny. Carl Stringer will start in 5th beside the Jägermeister machine of Alex Jones. Starting on row 4 will be Ralph Meyer and Kim Such. Then it's Andy Shepherd and the Golf machine of Alex Owen. Tony Franklin will start 11th, and the beloved Pink Pig Andy Marston rolls off from 12th. Alex Boney will start from 13th on the grid. So the grid is set then for round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship Season 9. 5-minute warm-up session here to get an idea of the conditions before we head into the race. And I tell you what, Paul, on that first lap, if you're in the front-running AM-class GT3 cars, well, you could potentially be held up by the back end of the prototypes.
I've experienced that myself when I used to drive touring cars in sessions with GT4 machinery, and that opening lap, getting caught up behind the back of those, can be frustrating. That's why you'll see them leave a little bit of a gap between the two classes, just to allow themselves a little bit of breathing space. It also means that if there's the mother and father of all shunts in the prototypes, it just allows you in the GT3s that bit of time to be able to react and get out of everybody's way. But those GTPs, they are going to be very, very cautious on lap number 1, and I think whoever has a handle of those cold tyres in those GTPs could get some really big gains at the start of the race.
It's going to be super, super important, and of course it's so new to all the drivers. You know, it only came in Tuesday last week.
Yeah.
So, or this week. No, last week. Excuse me.
Yeah.
There's not much time to get used to it. So the drivers that have put the time in and worked on that warm-up phase, you know, if you were practicing rather than going round and round and round, you kind of want to practice those first 5 laps over and over again. I think that's where the big time can be gained. You know, you can gain a 10th here and there. You know, you can find a 10th or 2 on a lap over a little bit of practice, but you know, you could find multiple seconds in those first 5 laps.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a massive key point of this race, and for the rest of the season as well. It's going to have a huge effect. Christian Zeruto, who is starting on the front row of the grid, he's got a bit of double duty this week because he's racing here today. Sunday, he's going to be racing around Knock Hill in the Porsche, the Rapid Racing Club Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain. Try saying that 3 times
Challenge.
fast.
Title Cup Series.
And so he's splitting his time here this week between this championship and that one. And it's, as I said, in the previous round, the opening round of the championship, it's been quite a jump up for him from this series into that Carrera Cup Great Britain.
Yeah, and I think he really gelled with the 963. He gelled with the RSR, which we used to use in this championship as well. The Cup car is a tricky beast, isn't it? It's so different. You know, even if you're used to driving the GT3R, and you might think, well, it's a 911 with about 500 horsepower. What's the difference? But there is a lot of difference. The way they feel, the way they perform, the intricacies of them, and that just takes a lot of time. I mean, you look at the guys at the very highest level driving in the Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. They're having to put so much effort and time in to get used to the car and to find every last tiny bit of performance, and that's kind of what you're up against. So I would think this will actually be it's good race preparation as well, but I think it'll actually be the more relaxing of the 2 experiences, I think, for Christian.
Well, apart from said lap 1 and 2, well, that won't be very relaxing. But certainly get you into the right frame of mind for racing in close proximities.
And is there weather forecast for a virtual Knock Hill on Sunday? Because I mean, the real Knock Hill will be bathed in sunshine, of course. But
there is not a drop of rain.
Of course not. No, exactly. Very realistic now, this weather. I have to say. Right, ready for action then. 40 minutes ahead of our drivers in this feature event. The AM class all in the Porsche 992 GT3Rs running on Pirelli tyres, of course. And then the Porsche 963 GTPs for the pro drivers. We expect just one scheduled pit stop for the GT3Rs in the AM class. The GTPs, there is a chance of making it on just one stop, but probably more likely one stop and then another splash and dash at the end. And it's the 25 car of Dean Powell who will roll us off from pole position alongside former multiple champion Christian Zeruto in the 119 Manthey Racing machine. So the Manthey Racing announced their driver lineup for the Nürburgring 24-hour, and it's a pretty good one. Kevin Estra, Haichan Guven and Thomas Preining. Is it going to be another win for Grello this year? Well, we'll have to wait until the end of June for that one. Week after Le Mans. Going to be very exciting to see. So the pro drivers on their way in. They don't even get a full pace lap here, Paul. This is going to be super tricky down into turn 1 in that braking zone. And
of course, no ABS either. So you got what is it, a kilometre long straight down
1.475 kilometres.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much for the correction there. You're coming at a high rate of knots into a very, very hard braking zone with stone cold tyres. That's why you see Christian Zaruta trying to weave and get as much temperature as possible. But the drivers will be set for the race start, Peter.
Yes, so the Porsche 911 GT3 Touring Cup car will pull away, and it will be the 25 of Dean Powell who will head us off. Oh, a little bit of lockups going on back in the pack there as well. Careful not to run into each other, guys, as they all come a little bit out of column. This is all a little bit messy, I have to say. Waiting for the pace car. It's a long roll down the start finish. And waiting for Dean Powell to open up that 4.6 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine and charge down. Of course, the longer they wait, the slower the speed into turn one, which they might be glad of. But this is bunching up really a lot. Waiting for that green flag. In your own green time, flag, Barney. There he goes. We're racing at Fuji then, as Dean Powell leads away with Christian Zaruta not quite getting on the gas pedal as early. As Dean Powell holding the inside line as they head down the hill, as here comes Danny Lee around the outside as they tiptoe their way into turn one. Good job from the drivers at the front of the field there, getting through cleanly as the GT3Rs now head off, and they are not far behind the back of the prototypes.
No, but they've given themselves a big enough opportunity of getting a gap there to be able to, oh, we got tyre smoke and cars off into each other. Oh, don't say that that's a Haribo Bear, and oh, that's Drew Fletcher flying off to driver's left.
And this is always the danger, because as soon as they do have a problem, the GT3Rs are right in on top. So the AM-Class guys doing a super job to avoid prototypes spinning all over the place, but they all make their way through. They've not got to worry so much about the tyre heat up. They have the performance much earlier. Those Pirelli tyres working really well. As up the inside goes Alex Johns in the Jägermeister machine. Great move there into the chicane and up through, and see already a little bit of, is that Heinz Meyer?
It is.
Yeah. Oh dear.
And he's got a mechanical warning flag as well, so he's got damage. He's going to have to head onto pit road.
Oh dear, oh dear. We do have fast repairs here, so actually, given how close we were on fuel, if you can get in here, fill up with fuel, take the fast repair, and actually he may well be able to then try and get home on one more stop from there, because he'll have done a lap, so it won't be as difficult to make that fuel save work. Because in goes Drew Fletcher as well, who's also had to pit. But for both of these cars, let's keep watching them, because their day doesn't necessarily have to be over, because they get a fast repair, they can put fuel in, and they may well end up doing the same amount of stops as everyone else. But at the front of the field now, Dean Powell has lost the lead to Christian Zaruta. So Christian Zaruta has managed to get the tyre working that little bit quicker and has gone past our pole sitter to take the lead.
Zaruta was 2 seconds quicker on that opening lap than Powell. That just shows the level of confidence that Christian has behind the wheel of that 963 GTP as they're going on to the brakes into the chicane. Very dark there. So cloud cover coming over here at Fuji. Of course, a very mountainous area, so you will get a bit of cloud formulation in the sky. Let's have a look back at the race start, and this is at the front then. So look at it, squirrely off the corner for Dean Powell and Christian Zaruta. You don't need to ask him twice, do you?
No, just got the power down really nicely. Oh, Powell nearly runs into the back of Zaruta on the brakes. Just didn't quite have the braking performance, but oh, it was Heinz Meyer just getting into the side of Drew Fletcher. Fletcher tries everything he can to slow it down, and bang! Oh, poor old Harry Beaubert gets his nose biffed in there as Fletcher spins around, but just really unfortunate. Nothing he could do. He's trying to hold the brakes, and yeah, sometimes the momentum takes over. So poor old Harry Beaubert there. Oh dear.
And this is Kim Such. So what's happened here? Oh
no.
2 into 1 does not go.
Well, I think Danny Jones might have locked up there.
Yeah.
And it just torpedoed him into the side of Kim Such. This was always the danger, wasn't it? Oh, it was a huge lock up for Heinz Meyer in that replay. So yeah, a lot of drivers really struggling with it. Oh, and then hit, oh dear, and then hits
and that's where he got the damage.
Yes, that was why it took so long to get back to the pit. So Stephen Haley is leading by 1.1 seconds from Alistair Hatcher. Ryan Penny's got up to third, so he's gone past Oliver Carbadine. Meanwhile, Alex Jones is trying to put a move on Carbadine here, actually, and also Carl Stringer in the GT3 RS tribute livery. I couldn't exactly tell you the paint code that is. It's almost like an Oslo blue, actually.
I mean, I'll have to bow down to your greater knowledge of Porsche paint codes. It's not. I haven't exactly been down to the dealership recently to pick out my paint codes.
Paul, how many times have we got on the configurator and created and had a competition who could put the most options on their car? Well, if you are going to play that game in real life, make sure you go to Porsche Centre Chester to do it. They'll gladly let you spec purple seat belts for a price.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They'll and do you know what? They'll provide you excellent customer service all the while you're doing that as well.
Yes.
So yeah, do check them out as well if you are specking out a brand new or used Porsche, of course.
Oh, they've always got good stuff in stock. Carl Hazelton, the dealer principal, has been a big supporter of this championship. Oh dear, Kim Such not a supporter of Tony Franklin there. Bang, straight into the side door. Tony is able to drive away, but delayed somewhat as Alex Owen in the Targa Florio Gulf 908 tribute machine goes by, and then Andy Marston says, oink oink, I'm coming back through.
That was a little bit light on the brakes, went far too deep. Oh my goodness, they're almost wiping each other out there. And it's almost like they're tripping over each other. You know when you're walking down the street and you come face to face with somebody and you both keep on stepping the same way to go past each other. That's almost what happened there.
Yeah, the most British thing ever. Sorry, after you. No, sorry. We've all been there. I don't think it's a bad thing that our nation is known for being polite. Well, that wasn't very polite there from Alex Owen into the back, and the pink pig has a slightly squished bottom there, unfortunately, but carrying on nonetheless. Also squished rear for Carl Stringer as well. I dread to think what the rear bumper of a 992 GT3, well, either a GT3R, probably even worse, or a 992 GT3 RS road car. Either or, you do not want that.
Well, the problem with this particular model, of course, is that you've got that rear diffuser there that produces so much downforce for the rear of the car. You see the car and you think, oh, that big old picnic table of a wing on the back of the car will be producing all the downforce. Not so. That rear diffuser creates so much sort of a ground effect style of downforce. It really sucks the back end down into the track. And finally, again, move made. Does he hold it this time? I think he does.
Yeah, good stuff there from Alex Owen. Got the move done nice and clean and tidy, so moves past Andy Marston in the pink pig. So Gulf on pink pig, and this was the battle at Le Mans in 1971. The pink pig run by Martini Racing Team, and the Gulf machines run by JW Automotive Engineering. In the end, neither car won. It was the Martini Racing machine, the white and blue magnesium chassis machine, that actually won. But this time it's the Gulf ahead of the pink pig. The pink pig actually crashed in that race, so let's hope that history doesn't repeat itself here for Andy Marston's sake.
Yeah, that would be suboptimal. I think it's fair to say if that did happen. I just want to draw your attention to the fact that we've got big gaps in your pro class. That's why we're focused so much on the AM class right now. They've really separated out. However, for me, Danny Lee, he's actually made it past Dean Powell for second place, and he's lapping a little bit quicker than Christian Zaruta right now.
Yeah, last lap he was 0.2 of a second quicker. He's got 2.3 seconds to chase down. be interesting to see if any of the drivers are attempting the fuel save, if they think they can do it. I mean, it's interesting when we heard from Danny Lee after the race at Suzuka, he was totally flabbergasted. He did not expect it to be possible. He didn't think that anyone would try it, and yet Rob Sharp made it work. Will that have changed his thinking? Watch out for Dean Powell there as well. He hasn't had the best start to the race, but is he just keeping his powder dry? Is he actually fuel saving? Let's have a listen. This will be the biggest teller. No. In short, straight off. Oh, wide for Danny Lee. Oh, he manages to just get the power down early enough there, but that's definitely lost Danny Lee a lot of time. In fact, straight away, he's now 3.3 seconds down on Tsuruta, but no, there was no fuel saving to speak of at all there.
Yeah, I think we're seeing very much hard charging, trying to catch up to the race leader right now, but yeah, that was a bit of a mistake from Lee. Shows he's not completely infallible, and it shows how difficult it is to go from the top speeds that these drivers are doing down into turn one, getting it slowed down, anchor out, and everything just to try and get it slowed down. But yeah, definitely a little mistake creeping in to Danny Lee. He'll be hoping he keeps it clean for the rest of this race.
Unlike we saw in the opening round at Suzuka, we might well see drivers just keeping the certainly in the prototypes, keeping the tyres on that they've got in the aid of. Oh dear, Carl Stringer gets. Oh, John Virgo trick shot of the day. Oh no. Now which of the Oris digital cars was that Stringer got tangled up with? But Stringer had nowhere to go there, just got squeezed.
I think it was Ralph Mayer.
Ah, yeah, it's Ralph Mayer just kind of closed. Yeah, just no room at all. And poor old Heinz Meyer is the innocent bystander, ironically, of the same team as Ralph Meyer. In fact, brotherly, not so much love there. But definitely a front runner for the John Virgo Trick Shot Award.
Yeah, that was quite the move. But what do you really achieve by squeezing the person on the outside there? In all honesty, when you're that car on the inside, what are you actually achieving there, other than trying to open up the corner as much as possible for yourself?
Well, all you're doing is increasing the risk.
Yeah.
To yourself and the other driver, and you know, if you're that far alongside them anyway, you don't need to do it because you've got the corner. They're not going to go around the outside of you. And as Carl Stringer's off the road, I think his car might be carrying a little bit too much damage. He's trying to get it to the pit stop window, which he's only a couple of minutes away from. But Carl Stringer desperately, I think, wants to get back to the pit lane to get some repair. But if he can keep going until the next couple of laps, he'll be able to do so, take his normal stop and get the fast repair. But sometimes when the car's not at its best health, it makes it more difficult to drive.
And the leader is starting to go through our AM traffic now. So the pro leader working his way through the back end of the AM traffic. So this is going to be interesting for when these prototypes, if you catch that AM traffic, especially after that clumsy chicane at the bottom of the hill at turn 10, if you catch lap traffic through that tight and twisty section, that can really hamper your day. Like we were seeing last time out of Suzuka with lap traffic getting caught through the S's at the start of the lap at Suzuka. If you get lap traffic at the right time, down that start and finish straight, you're onto a winner right there. But through the tight and twisty stuff, you got to show patience.
You do, and that's at very, very low speed. The prototypes aren't any quicker than the GTs. They can actually be relatively cumbersome sometimes, and it's only really when they stretch their legs is when you see the difference. In fact, a lot of drivers have commented that they've got a similar amount of aerodynamic grip or downforce to, say, an old GTE car or GT11 car, or a Class 1 DTM car. And then, but they have a lot more straight line speed, a lot more power, so that's where the lap time comes from. But actually, downforce wise, they're not massively different to those. Whoa, dearie me, as Rob Sharp nearly runs the pink pig off the road there. The poor old pink pig's getting bullied about here.
Yeah, it's not had a good time, and let's hope it doesn't end up at the butcher's too soon. Yeah, see, this is where Rob Sharp is getting that little bit of, I don't want to say desperation, but where you're seeing those opportunities of being able to take advantage over the car in front that you're fighting with Paul Goffin in this particular tussle between these two, but you want to try and use the lap traffic to your advantage as much as possible, and if you can get one over the competitor you're racing against, then that's what you need. But right now, it can just be a little bit sketchy with some of the moves that we've been seeing so far.
I wonder if Rob Sharp is, judging by the body language of this car, I don't think he's going for the same strategy, but looks could be deceiving. We saw him be the only driver to pull off the one-stop strategy in the GTPs last time out. But is he going to have to go for that extra pit stop today? I mean, the front straight alone could be enough to make that unrealistic. I mean, flat out for 1.5 kilometers, that's going to make fuel saving more difficult, just that straight on its own.
Yeah, it's because you are full throttle from turn 16 from a low speed corner as well, so that's where you're really having to work the engine hard, and also the hybrid system as well coming into effect with all of that. The driver's not actually getting the same effect. iRacing are still working on the hybrid system of these GTP machinery, so we'll be seeing a change of that, they say, in the next build in 12 weeks time. So yeah, getting more and more realistic and more like the real thing, and that can only be a good thing in my eyes.
Definitely, I think that's the positioning that iRacing has in the market as well. Alex Jones takes his line and Goffin has to take avoiding action. Sharp goes the other way, and it turns out to be the correct way. As whoa, Jones is spun. Oh dear, just gets it up on the curb, and the rear just came around on him. Oh, it's all getting very, very busy as the Scuderia Chicken House car of Andy Shepherd there has to get out the throttle too, as Alex Jones rejoins. So he did get a bit Jaeger dive bombed there.
It's all a bit messy, wasn't it, really, down there at the chicane, but back up and running. Nobody severely impacted by that too much, other than the Jägermeister car itself. So yeah, it's carrying on as we were, but as I was saying earlier, the close battles really out there are all in this AM field with the GT3 machinery. It does surprise me, the gaps that we've had form in the prototypes in the pro category. However, Danny Lee is incrementally just getting closer and closer. It's Christian Zaruta at the front of the field.
He has, yeah. He's half the gap, down to 1.8 seconds. And that's through the traffic that's happened. So since they've hit traffic, Danny Lee has been able to take time back off Christian Zaruta as they approach the pit window. Now, this is the interesting part. If you can get the other side of 20 minutes, you're safe. We're about a minute and a half, just over a minute and a half per lap. So depends when our leaders decide to come in to the pits. They've done 12 laps on their stint so far, but if they can make it around, I think, you know, even with the pit stop time, they might well be okay. You know, it's going to be very interesting. As last time's winner, Rob Sharp just couldn't get that stopped, and yeah, tangled with the GT car, and round he went. And
very little that the GT car could do other than just hold on to the brakes, really.
Yeah.
And allow Rob to have his accident. So yeah, that was a big mistake there from Rob, our winner last time out, down to 9th place in class right now. So I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with how today is going, but it's a new world for these pro drivers with these cars, but they should be on point right now with how the cars are. As you say, lap 13 of their stints now.
And the fact that they've kept going and they've gone around, that means they're going to, as long as they do the same level of fuel economy in the first stint, they're going to make it on just one stop. Nobody in GTP has pitted yet. So this, in fact, I tell a lie, we've had one pitter, and that was Heinz Meyer, but he had to pit for repair. So in terms of all the drivers who are on schedule, they have to... they will make it if they're able to run the same level of fuel economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a few technical issues here, so apologies everybody at home. But I can tell you that it's... they're going to be hitting that 20-minute mark round about now. There we go. Got pictures back for you. So we're past the halfway point, and Zaruta, Danny Lee, they're all staying out. So, yeah, you're absolutely right, Peter. Comfortable on one stop here today.
Yeah, that's... I would have thought, what's the more fuel-heavy circuit, Suzuka or Fuji? I would say Fuji, but not so. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I suppose in Suzuka you've got that long run out of Spoon, maybe, is that, or then the run up to Spoon, is that where all the fuel gets burnt there? I don't know, but interesting stuff. So our GTPs, we should see them into the pits very, very soon. In fact, they've gone round to start another lap, so they're miles up.
Yeah, and it is getting closer between those front two. The gaps in the rest of GTP. I mean, Byron Crawford is pretty close together at the moment with this fight that we're seeing on screen of Steve Kershaw and Paul Goffin. So Barbie chasing down Paul, trying to get the position. It's a shame we don't have a Ken on the track in the pro class.
We definitely need a Ken. Well, Stephen Kershaw has to be our Ken for now. He's basically the Ryan Gosling of Porsche Club of Great Britain.
No, but it's Stephen Kershaw's the Barbie. He's Barbie.
No, he's in Barbie.
Yeah. Now, leaders. Quickly changing the subject. Leaders are onto pit road.
Yeah, comfortably making that, well past the halfway mark, so may actually be able to push harder in this second stint. So Saruta in, Lee in, James Cummings in, Goffin's gone round again. So Goffin's been able to make an extra lap on the fuel as Saruta hits. Now, unsurprisingly, nobody going for tyres. If they do, I think it would be an error. Why is that? Well, because if they put new tyres on, they'll be stone cold. So you want to keep the tyres warm, keep them absolutely in the operating window. I don't know how much performance drop-off there'll be from you driving into the pits and then back out again. I think it'll be all right.
You lose just a little bit of temperature, not overly enough to have a big detrimental effect, but out of pit road, and your two leaders are actually even a little bit further apart than they were going into pit roads. Christian Zaruta, 15 seconds on the blocks compared to 17 seconds of Danny Lee, so Lee taking a little bit extra fuel.
So does that mean that he'd used more, or is it that he's maybe feeling a bit conservative, or Christian Zaruta is feeling brave maybe on the fuel number, possibly? Let's see. Paul Goffin and Steve Kershaw, they've gone round again. So it's in another world level of fuel difference. I mean, they're basically going to end up running about 4 minutes longer on a tank, or actually in some cases 5 minutes longer on a tank than we saw at Suzuka.
They're into pit road now.
Yeah, so they're longer than it, but in terms of what we saw at Suzuka, they're at least 5 minutes longer on the same amount of fuel. That's incredible, actually. Who knew Fuji was a lighter fuel circuit than Suzuka?
There we go. If you want to save yourself some fuel for your GTP, then get yourself rounding it around at Fuji speed.
Yeah, if you're a Japanese track day fan, if you want to use less fuel, book a day at Fuji rather than Suzuka. Goodness.
Essential consumer advice, ladies and gentlemen.
It is very important, as Goffin makes it out ahead of Steve Kershaw and Barbie. Out of the pit lane they go, and when they ask for the power there's not quite as much of a protest from the rear end as we saw under the cooler, when the tyres were cooler.
Oh!
And they come out just ahead of Byron Crawford.
Oh no! They were going 3 wide into turn 3 there. Sorry, Peter. It doesn't look like Paul Coffin's been able to get away well out of all of that and has dropped down behind Steve and Byron Crawford. So issues for Paul Coffin off of pit road.
Yeah, and not such a good day for Rob Sharp there in 9th. His strategical advantage of last week has been eliminated, and he's sitting in 9th at the moment. So our championship leader set to lose a big chunk of points at this moment in time, with just under 15 minutes left on the clock. Christian Tsuruta leads by 2.8 seconds from Danny Lee, with James Cummings now in 13th. Powell, the pole sitter, in 4th is Spin for Sharp. Oh no! Oh, last round's winner. Oh, goes for a spin around. This has not been a good day at the office for Rob.
Is it a case of just get yourself to the end of the race and just get yourself parked and forget about this week for Rob Sharp? Steve Haley, your race leader in your GT3 class, has got a black flag coming onto pit road.
Oh, speeding. Surely, must be. Oh no, he was leading comfortably from Alistair Hatcher, and last time out's winner, round 1 winner, Stephen Haley, is going to take a long hold in the pits as all of his rivals drive by. Alistair Hatcher gives him a wave on the way by, saying, enjoy a good book while I head off down towards turn 1. Oh dear. Ryan Penny right in there. Opportunity for him now to try and challenge for a win here in the AM class. Well,
this business has just picked up, hasn't it? And it really has turned things around. You're talking about a 40-second stop and hold, by the way, for that one. So Stephen Haley's just tumbling down the standings. Finally serves that penalty. 52 seconds in the pit box.
Oh dear. That has cost Stephen Haley an enormous chunk of points, looking like, well, he was certainly in position to score another win, and, well, it just doesn't look like that's going to be the case. He allows Christian Tsuruta through in the lead of GTP and overall in the race. Danny Lee should be just there. There he is, 2.7 seconds behind Tsuruta. So that gap is fairly steady at the moment, as they've got 12.5 minutes or so left on the clock. Meanwhile, battle in AM between Kim Such and Ralph Meyer. We ride with Such. Meyer up ahead. Head round towards the chicane. Turn 10, 11 is really awkward. Actually comes slightly back on itself. There you go. And then round. It's so technical, trying to get on the power as early as you can. Try and gain time. Clip the curve there. And up around is such a tricky section, and you can lose so much time. And you go for a move like that, you will. Oh dear, oh dear.
You could see that coming, couldn't you, Peter?
Yeah, that was like Titanic heading for the iceberg there.
You get so... because of the lines that people have to take through that section, we just catch the end of that on the replay there. But because of the lines that you take there, you see it from on board. The car in front takes a nice wide entry, so you think, oh, I've got a great opportunity. But that's because they're nipping in for a late apex to get themselves as far to the left as possible, heading in towards the final corner. to open up that final corner. It's so important that you open up that final corner because of this. 1.4 kilometres of straight. You want to carry as much speed out that last corner. And yeah, it was just inevitable when you saw that gap closing.
Yeah, and Such was never going to make the corner anyway at that speed. It was just, too tempting, and wasn't able to resist the temptation, and yeah, the result was what it is there, as Andy Marston and the Pig makes way for the prototypes coming through. So it's Alistair Hatcher then that leads in the AM class by 3.4 seconds from Ryan Penny. Then they've got a big gap back to Alex Jones in the Jägermeister car. Then it's Andy Shepherd in the Scuderia Chicken House machine, with Ralph Meyer rounding out the top 5 after that challenge from Kim Such. Ollie Carbadine, what's happened to him down in 8th? That's not where we're used to seeing him.
I think he may have had a penalty as well, 52 seconds, same as Stephen Haley in the pit lane. I was about to say, Peter, very good song is Temptation by Heaven 17, the Yorkshire band. They're from Sheffield.
I see.
Do you know how you can tell if somebody's from Yorkshire? Just wait long enough and they'll tell you.
Very true. That is very true. They'll make a good cup of tea.
Yeah, absolutely. We're good with a good brew.
Yes.
So again, we've got the leaders working their way through lap traffic, and I think that's worked in Zaruta's favour because that gap at the front has pulled out here. Do you know what? I'm genuinely surprised at the size of the gaps in this race here. The closest battle being this one that we're seeing right now of Dean Powell, who he'll be thinking to himself, what could have been, will Dean, after sticking it on pole position?
Yeah, I think he might do. Yeah, after that pole was such good effort to out-qualify Saruta and Danny Lee, but yeah, the race just hasn't really gone his way. Didn't quite get a good get. Oh dear. Well, that sort of sums it up.
I know you're a believer, aren't you?
No, not really, but if you were, that's a pretty pure strain of the commentator's curse.
Fair enough. I'll put you in the Lewis McLeod camp then of not believing the commentators, because I very much do. And yeah, that was just that was a rich vein right there.
I did have a pretty pure strain of it at Sebring, actually. I said, well, if we stay green, and as I got to the grip of green, full course yellow.
Oh dear, yeah.
Maybe it is a thing.
It is a thing, I'm telling you. It's true.
8 minutes left on the clock then. Saruta actually extending his advantage slightly to 3.7 seconds there over Danny Lee. James Cummings sits in 3rd with a strong podium position. I mean, this is going to really shake up the... if we finish as we are, it's really going to shake up the championship order, because Rob Sharp is down in 9th. Rob Miller isn't here.
Nope.
Danny Lee is... Well, actually, we're going to probably profit Danny Lee the most, actually. He sits in 3rd, so he will likely go to the top of the championship. And Saruta, of course, missing a round, so he'll get his account on off in the best possible way if he can hang on just over the next 7 minutes or so. In AM, well, it was looking like it was going to be very tight. Stephen Haley and Alistair Hatcher 1-2 like they were in Suzuka. Well, that's all changed. Alistair Hatcher got a great opportunity to take an early lead in the AM Championship. It's
amazing how the early stages of a championship, it can sway back and forth depending on people's form, but it is just that. It's the early stages of the championship, and I don't think people will be panicking right now. I think they'll be just saying, okay, right, had a good race there, bad race there, let's see how we pan out for the rest of the season. It's once you reach that halfway point of the championship that you get a general idea as to, right, who are the main players in a championship, and who's wanting to try and get that win in the series, but Byron Crawford a little bit further back because of that traffic at the previous corner, but now comes into his favour with Steve Kershaw in front with the Jägermeister car just going past.
Byron Crawford sitting in 6th at the moment. Good run for him. He's chasing down Steve Kershaw. What a turnaround for Steve Kershaw here. You know, had a pretty horrid time at Suzuka, but in the top 5 right now. See Byron Crawford there really leaning on the left-hand side. The tyre gets an absolute pounding from turn 3 all the way around to turn 6.
Certainly does, and yeah, that has that big effect there. Byron Crawford, by the way, is the biggest mover in your pro class as well. 7 places gained in this race after starting in 13th, so right at the back of your pro field. Has worked his way forward and is looking good for 6th and putting the pressure on for 5th.
Yeah, it's if you could get a top 5, that would be a huge result after a difficult qualifying for Byron Crawford. Just struggled on the cold tyres and couldn't quite get those tyres into the window that they needed to be. But he's close enough to be just maybe picking up a nibble of a slipstream from Stephen Kershaw, hanging on to Barbie's coattails, her pink coattails.
I'm sure those
maybe hanging on to her pigtails, maybe more accurately.
I'm sure that that'll be a Barbie clothing line somewhere with her accessories.
I can't say I'm an expert.
Neither am I.
No.
I know that my brother once cut the hair off of my sister's Barbie. She wasn't too happy about that.
I bet she wasn't. That's more of a Scalextrics man myself.
Yeah.
Oh, little puff of smoke there. Barbie's smoking. You shouldn't do that, Barbie. Not at your age. That's bad. Bad, Barbie. Smoking is bad, kids. And Byron Crawford is going to hand out the punishment here. Oh, but Kershaw just hangs on for now. Great battle here over 5th place.
It's so easily done to lock up that wheel, as we said, with these prototypes, these Porsche 963 GTPs. No ABS on them, so you really got to be careful on the braking and really have a positive feel on the brake pedal with these cars. And well, we're seeing just that little lock-up from Kershaw into that infield section that turns 6, and well, that's given Byron Crawford all the positive feeling. He'll be feeling a bit more confident about how things go, but we've only got 3 minutes remaining, so time is running out for these drivers.
It is, and Christian Tsuruta might start to come maybe a little bit more under pressure. The gap is trimmed back down again. Danny Lee has taken just under a second out of him over the last couple of laps. The gap is down to just under 3 seconds now. So is there any twist left in the tail here as the battle for 5th position hits traffic as they have to go around one of the GT3Rs? I think it's Ryan Penny. And then, oh, Kershaw just leaves the door open for a moment, but Byron Crawford isn't tempted there, decides to fight another day and have another look into somewhere else. But they're really close. This could go either way for 5th position as they come around towards the chicane, as you almost come back on yourself there. Really sharp right and then sharp left, and then into the really technical section from 12 all the way through to the end of the lap.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff between these two, and as I said earlier, where you catch lap traffic is going to have a huge effect on your race. And well, this is giving Crawford the opportunity that he needs. Is he going to poke a nose to the inside? No. He realizes it's better to get the run out of the corner than trying to make a move into that last corner.
So will be will it be 1 lap to go or 2 laps to go? Probably 2 laps to go here for this battle for 5th position between Kershaw and Crawford. Now, is Crawford going to have a look? Oh, he was tempted. He thought about it. He thought about leaning on the brakes hard and going into turn 1 there, but no, decides better of it. As the gap between Tsuruta and Lee at the front absolutely steady. Meanwhile, in Alistair Hatcher leading by 4.9 seconds. But Brian Penny is just, that gap's been fairly consistent. He's got a long way back to third, so he's in a reasonably lonely second position. But second position is good. In pick up the points, accumulate them. That's what it's all about. Everyone will have a bad day, particularly in the AM class. So you just have to pick up the points, score them when you have the opportunity to. And that's exactly what Kershaw and Crawford are trying to do here as they come down into the chicane once again. With 1 lap to go when they come to the stripe.
And you can see just Crawford just losing that little bit of ground there that time through the chicane. So that was to his detriment as Chris Ruta starting his last lap of the race. Paul Goffin under serious pressure from Dean Powell here. So this is the battle for 7th.
Yeah, Powell, I think they was running in the top 5, but had that spin, and really from pole position, it's not the result he would have wanted after I'm sure it would have been a huge boost to stick the car on pole, but he's right in behind Paul Goffin here and should be picking up a very strong slipstream. As well, Rob Sharp, he might get a bit of a slipstream as well, but certainly Dean Powell's that little bit closer. He decides not to trim down and follow the slipstream of Goffin as he weaves there. Oh, nearly gets into the back of Goffin there, nearly, but has just about gets it pulled up in time as Goffin heads away and hangs on to that position for now. Battle over 7th place, but Tsuruta, he's not flinched under pressure. The former multiple champion of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship in the Pro category has got a lead of over 3 seconds from Danny Lee as they go round this final lap. Comes around really confidently, and wasn't a pole position in a win, but qualifying on the front row was plenty good enough. Christian Tsuruta then is back in the winner's circle in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. So second place for Danny Lee should see him climb to the top of the championship standings, but meanwhile this battle over 7th place is raging as oh no, it's another spin for Rob Sharp. He probably won't lose any more positions there. He gets back going again, but not such a good day for the round 1 winner. But it is going to be Goffin who hangs on for 7th place. It will be 8th place for Dean Powell as they rush up towards the line, but Alistair Hatcher had to be second best at Suzuka, but not so here after a penalty for Stephen Haley for speeding in pit lane. Alistair Hatcher then is your winner in the AM class. Great stuff there from Alistair Hatcher. Really strong performance, and that should see him go to the top of the championship standings. Ryan Penny came home in 2nd place. Meanwhile, battle over 4th and 5th. 4th looks like it's going to go the way of Scuderia Chickenhouse and Andy Shepherd. Then right behind him, Ralph Meyer in 5th, and Kim Such rounding out the top 6. A pretty eventful day for Kim Such there, but gets the car home in 6th position.
I think eventful is the correct term there, Peter. Yes, pretty much involved in everything was Kim, but yeah, to get it into the 6th place was a good result for them, and everybody has made it across the line here, so we should be able to give you some race results.
So after 26 laps, then it is Christian Tsuruta back in the championship and back on the top step of the podium by 3.9 seconds from Danny Lee. James Cummings came home on the podium in the Flying Calippo, just 8 seconds off the lead. Johnny Elia was 4th, with Steve Kershaw in Barbie rounding out the top 5. Byron Crawford was 6th, followed by Paul Goffin, who had to hold off a late charge from both Dean Powell and Rob Sharp. Rob Healy rounds out the top 10 on the lead lap. Unfortunately, no lead lap finish for Heinz Meyer and Danny Jones, and a very early bath for Drew Fletcher. And the win in the AM class goes the way of Alistair Hatcher. No mistakes from him, executing the perfect race to win by 5.3 seconds from Ryan Penny, and Alex Jones gets up on to the podium. Great job from him after 4th place last time out. He makes a great start to his Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing season. Andy Shepherd came home in 4th, holding off Ralph Meyer and the charging Kim Such. Stephen Haley, well, it's a story of what could have been a pit lane speeding penalty, put him back to 7th, and likewise the same fate for Ollie Carradine. Alex Owen and Andy Marston came home 1 lap down, as did Tony Franklin. Unfortunately, it's no finish for Carl Stringer or Alex Boney. Well, it's a case of history repeating itself in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Christian Tsuruta first to the checkered flag and first to the interview room, and he is now with Paul Smith.
Yes, here we go, Christian. So it's 2 weeks in a row in this championship where the pole sitter hasn't won. But Christian, I mean, talk to us. The start of the race. How sketchy is this car with such a short pace lap for you out there today as well?
It's like it's wet. It's probably the best way to describe it. It's like driving slicks in a damp track. It's very greasy, and having driven in the Porsche Cup car for the last few months in the Rapper Racing series, it's I didn't get as much chance to do any practice for this one, so it was a bit of a surprise.
And we saw you were able to get that jump then over Dean Powell out of turn number 1 and get a little bit of a gap, but then Danny Lee was just eating away at your lead, wasn't he? Was that any concern for you, or were you just focused on your own win here?
No, I could see I had a bit of pace. There were the cars behind, and I wasn't sure with the new tyre model if the tyres were going to last the whole race or if they were going to go off or how much fuel, because as I say, I didn't really do any practice for this, so I wasn't sure if I was going to need to 1 stop or 2 stop and whatever else I was doing. So for the first stint, I just made sure I got to the halfway mark, looked after the tyres, and then got on with it a bit more in the second stint.
And Imola next time, is it one that you're looking forward to or not?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's going to be with the other series. It's going to be tough to do any practice because this one's more a bit of a fun now with the cash on the line and the other one. But yeah, I mean, I like Imola. It's a fun circuit. It will be, I think, again, quite tricky in these cars with the new tyre model. But yeah, this is it's always good fun, this series, and I'm still waiting for where's Johnny Cullen? He's done a Rosberg and won it and buggered off. I don't know where he's gone.
Well, all the best, Christian, and see you on Sunday as well.
All right, cheers.
That's Christian Tsuruta, race winner in Pro, and getting our race winner in Am, or we would have done. He's disappeared, Peter.
He's shy. Yes, I do like that. That is a proper heavyweight boxing call out there from Christian Tsuruta saying, Johnny Cullen, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. The tyres certainly are. Well, while we wait for Alistair Hatcher, why don't we have a word with the driver who managed to get up on the podium in Am, and that is Alex Jones in the Kramer Jägermeister machine.
Yeah, Alex joining us here very briefly. That looked like an eventful day for you out there, Alex. Talk us through that race.
Yeah, I can't believe that I'm on the podium. I've practiced on the wrong track this week with the no chicane and quickly got used to the track, and good first few laps, some good battles. I think there was a good overtake on Ollie, I think lap 1 or 2, into the chicane a few taps from behind, but went into the pit 6th. Came out and was in 3rd, so I was chuffed to bits. And then it was just basically run it smooth home then.
It certainly was a smooth run for you. Congratulations, podium here today for you, Alex Jones.
Thank you.
That's Alex, and Alex Hatcher has come back, and hopefully we've got a handle on you. Alistair, are you there?
Hello. Yes.
Hello, Alistair. So, congratulations, win in Am here today. Did it come as a little bit of a surprise to you, given the lead that Steve Haley had in the first portion of the race?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean that victory was Steve's all day long. I think he's just got so much pace. Obviously, it's the same at Suzuka a couple of weeks ago. I get the feeling he's toying with me. He's just getting in front, 2-second lead, and then hanging back and not overcooking his tyres, whereas I'm pushing hard as possible. But yeah, when he messed up that pit stop, I panicked. I thought I'd underfueled. I was freaking out.
Well, at the end of the day, though, a win's a win. You'll take it. But it's all about that consistency, isn't it, looking at the championship as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. I must admit, I wasn't expecting to be this quick this season at all. And most evenings I go into it without any, practice just before the session, but without any practice in the week. So, yeah, I'm quite surprised, to be honest. I didn't think I'd be where I am at the moment. Hopefully it continues.
Well, congratulations up and winner here today, and congratulations to you, Alistair Hatcher.
Thanks, guys. Cheers for that.
There we go. Peter, I want to get a quick word with the man who finished runner-up in Pro of Danny Lee. Danny, hello there. Back on the podium once again, 2 from 2. I know it's not the number 1 that you want to see, but still very good consistency from the start of the season.
Yeah, that was a fun race. I loved it. And also, racing against Christian Sharita first time. This time, last week it was Miller that was sort of the man to beat, or so we thought. So it's nice to sort of assimilate into a pre-existing bunch of people. These guys have been racing together multiple seasons. When you come in brand new, you want to know where you stack up against everybody. So this was a really fun race. We were so equal with each other, but he just had it. He had me at arm's length, and I never got closer after that.
Yeah, certainly a good run, but still 2 podiums from 2. You must be pleased.
Super pleased. Hopefully, if it carries on like that for the whole season, where it's like a new nemesis, a new rival every time, then it's going to be a great season. So far, it's been really, really fun. Enjoying the flow, enjoying the car, particularly after the tyre update. And I knew it was going to be good, but now I'm sure of it.
Wonderful. Congratulations. 2 podiums from 2 this season.
Thank you very much. Cheers again, guys. Thank you.
That was Danny Lee, and we're going to get a quick word from the man who finished at 2nd place in Ryan Penny. Ryan, I mean, it looked a little bit of a lonely race for you for quite a while out there.
Yeah, until the GTPs came up. Makes it a bit more interesting.
How was that then? How was that interaction between the pros and the AMs here today?
To be honest, it's not too bad because most of them at the wiggly bits towards the end of the lap, they follow you through and then fly past down the straight. It's when they're coming round the outside of that long sweeping right-hander, sort of halfway around the lap. So you don't want to push it too much and things go wrong. But no, it was good. Enjoyed it.
But still, you must be pleased though. Podium here today at Fuji.
Yeah, especially after last race's little faux pas. But no, I'm well happy.
Well, congratulations, Ryan, on your podium here today.
Thank you very much. And keep up the good work on the broadcast.
Oh, it's always good to hear, Peter. People having the best regards for us as well. But these drivers make our lives easy, don't they?
They do. They're all. You can just hear the passion there and the love for racing, and there's going to be more of it. 2 weeks' time, we head to Imola, a circuit where the World Endurance Championship will be going, I think, a week or 2 after that. So it'll be very much in focus at that time. An amazing historic circuit, a real challenge, and not easy for multi-class racing. So join us, RaceSpotTV, 8 o'clock UK time. The clocks will have changed by then to British summer time, to watch out for that. 8 o'clock UK time here on RaceSpotTV. Join us then. And from us all here at RaceSpotTV and the Porsche Club of Great Britain, we wish Angus Archer's family all the best after the sad news we received this week. All the best and good night.